Hey guys, Chad here at Happy Viking Games, and today we're going to do another Commander deck tech. We're here with Brian Scholl. He's going to explain to us some kind of red, white, I don't know. Just let him talk, so go.
Alright, so this is my Commander deck. This is my Commander. Her name is Milo the Anima. She costs a red, a white, and a green. She's for a 2/3 Elf Shaman. And her ability is that I can pay a white, a red, and a green, and look at the top five, or N3, and look at the top 5 cards in my library, choose a creature card with power 5 or greater from among them, and put them onto the battlefield for free. So, instead of being the most crazy, I'm going to play all the biggest creatures in all of Magic forever, slam them onto the battlefield and kill you kind of deck, I chose to take a slower, grindier kind of style. I'm going to answer your threats instead of just presenting mine. So, this leads me to play a gigantic array of incredibly powerful creatures. So, just to start off with, we've got some staples from Standard. We've got Rural Rage Beast, Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight. We've got World Spine Worm, Sarah Avatar, Hamlet Backgoliath, and Angel Serenity. These are all standard creatures. And of course, one of my new favorites, Molten Primordial from Gatecrash. Rounding out that, we've got a sweet toolbox of creatures, and we've got Steel Hellkite to destroy tokens, Purity to avoid taking infinite damage from combos, Terracodon to blow up anything that could give me trouble, Bogarden Hellkite to pick off very specific creatures, Windbrisk Raptor to gain a bunch of life, Paleoloth to make sure I don't ever lose my creatures, and Ulamog to, win the game. So, in addition to this awesome toolbox, we have a bunch of other cards that basically just win the game on the spot. If these don't get answered immediately, they will end the game. So, we've got Lurking Predators, one of the most powerful cards in the deck. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, I reveal the top card of my library. If it's a creature, and it usually is for one reason or another, I get to put it onto the battlefield for free. There's Guild Feud, commonly thought to be a useless card in Standard, but in here, it does exactly what I want. One free creature every turn. Warstorm Surge, an alternate win condition. Whenever a creature comes into play, it deals damage to its power equal to an opponent. So, kill you. Insurrection, take all of the creatures and attack everybody, killing them pretty much instantly. And lastly, Titanic Ultimatum, which is like super overrun. It makes all my creatures even more gigantic, gives them lifelink, and it's pretty hard to recover from. Next thing is finding the creatures. So I've got 5 tutors in the deck. We've got Worldly Tutor, which searches for a creature, put it on top. Works very well with fucking Predators. Congregation of Dawn, which is like Worldly Tutor, but I get to do it 3 times. Green Sun Zenith, to search my library for any green creature, put it on the battlefield. Birthing Pod, former Standard All-Star, to search my library for any creature card, put it on the battlefield, as long as it costs 1 more than the creature I sacrificed. And Cream of the Crop. Cream of the Crop is probably the best card in this deck. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under my control, I get to look at the top X cards of my library, X is that creature's power, and put 1 on top, and the rest on the bottom in any order. So, if I've got Lurking Predators, Cream of the Crop, I go, okay, look at the top card, slam it, look at the top 5, oh hey look, another creature, put that on top, slam the next card, repeat until I have a gigantic board. Next we've got a bunch of random utility spells. This one, Asceticism to protect my guys, Lightning Grease to protect my guys, Dividing Top for greater top of the deck manipulation, and Greater Good to draw a billion cards. Sometimes you can't deal with everything just by having gigantic creatures, so Swords to Plowshares, Oblivion Ring, and Return to Dust are pretty useful catch-alls in that sense. Next, we've got my Wraths. This deck is not the fastest. Other decks will explode faster than this deck does. Sometimes you just need to say no. These blow up everything. After that, we've got 5 utility creatures in the deck. They are the only creatures in the deck that don't have power greater than 5, except for my ramp creatures. So we've got Bright Island Stouter, who's basically an alternate win condition. He flings creatures at opponents and gains life. Eternal Witness and Genesis to get back cards from my graveyard. Final Shaman is yet another creature tutor to find whatever I need. And Silkflash Spider because sometimes these guys don't fly. Next, we've got a pretty comprehensive ramp package. We've got Soul Ring, Yavimaya Elder, Crimson Tusker, Eternal Dragon, Sacred Tribe Elder, Psalms and Electrum, and Cultivate. They're, on the whole, pretty standard Commander ramp package. Most green-based decks will play most of these creatures. They're very useful. So, lastly, we've got the lands. This deck plays a lot of basic lands. There's easily 15 basics, and that's more than most commander decks play. This is because all of these ramp creatures and ramp abilities search for basic lands and put them in play. I'm a huge John Avon fan, so all of my basics, except for this one, are by John Avon. Lastly, we got some useful non-basics here. These are just to fix colors, including the shock lands. Very, very useful. I'll get to why in a second. And my utility lands. So I'll go over these individually because they're actually very, very important. Spinerock Bowl and Monster Bridge are hideaway lands from Lorem. When they enter the battlefield, I look at the top 4 cards in my library, put a card face down under them, and then put the rest on the bottom. Then, when a certain condition is met, I can pay mana and put that onto the battlefield for free. So with this one, it's have 10 or more power, which is the easiest thing in the world. And this one is if an opponent gets hit for 7 or more this turn. So opponents tend to get hit for a lot of damage in commanders, making this very useful. Next is Homeward Path, that's from the commander set. And I don't know if you know this, but I hate having my creatures stolen. I don't like blue mages with this deck. They just are horrible to me. So this lets me regain control of all my creatures. We've got Kessig Wolfrun, standard all-star. It lets me take one creature and make it kill you repeatedly. And lastly, and probably most important, we got Corrosive Urge, the absolute best mana-fixing land ever printed, in my opinion. It comes with a play tapped. It taps to add a single colorless mana, or you can pay 2 and tap it, sacrifice it, search your library for a Mount Afraid forest and plains, and then play tapped. So the important thing is here, I have these shock lands. The Corrosive Urge promises the shock lands to give me 2 of any color I'll need at any time. So if I'm staring down a hand of, I don't know, Sarah Avatar, Soul of the Harvest, and Insurrection, I can easily get all the colors I need to cast all of them really quickly. Well, that's actually about it for this deck. There's tons of options. It provides quite an interesting playstyle, and it's not an aggro deck. Don't ever think it's an aggro deck.
Okay. All right. Well, Brian, thanks for showing us your deck, and it's nice to know that Canadian players aren't allowed to play Islands. So we will see you guys next time. Thanks.
Only red and white for Canadians.